Yeah, you're
Right.
right.
That's not a good look. I mean, I was actually glad that for what little, because mind you, I was at work and they pay attention in there, so I'm while I'm paying attention, every once in a while I got an opportunity to watch, but as I'm doing what I need to do and making security checks and everything, I'm listening. I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I did not hear his name this week. Jesus, does he still play for us? Because last week it was just like every time the week before, every time you look around.
Yeah.
He was like the next American Idol.
I mean, and you bring a good point, though, Diva, because he wasn't really in the game that much. I mean, he didn't have any tackles last game. He only assisted with 2. But, I mean, he was really a non-factor.
Maybe he was on punishment. Maybe he
had to be.
Maybe he was on defensive punishment.
He was on defensive
and it was just like, we're going to keep you on a short leash.
You're on defensive punishment. Sit down. They should have done that to Brandon Browner last year.
I think Coach Payton may have also realized that he needs time to grieve over the sudden death of his mom. Also, may have possibly another factor.
There you go. Yeah, I don't feel you took enough time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a very, that's not easy to deal with. And so, but these other players, because before that, Nick Fairley had been playing really, really solid. He was the only one. I need more from Cam Jordan. I'm not sure what's going on with Cam this year.
He just had a baby.
Oh, he
had a baby a few months back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Newborn. That's a fairly. Yeah, they just had a baby. They had a baby like maybe I want to say either it was actually during preseason.
No, it was in the summertime. I do know. Yeah,
I know it was in the summer. Either it was during the preseason games or right before preseason started or right before the season started. That they
close.
Yeah.
So we need to come to that Pro Bowl level, and I don't know what we're going to do with Jenkins and Tyler Davidson, because Tyler Davidson has just been silent. And he had a good training camp, and he has just been. I just have not heard much from Tyler, seen much from Tyler in terms of performance. So hopefully,
well, he didn't play last game. He wasn't in,
and he didn't play against Kansas City either.
No, he did play against Kansas City. He had 2 tackles, but he wasn't in the Seattle game.
Yeah, I didn't hear them saying he wasn't going to play. So
maybe he got on defensive punishment too.
He might be on. He might be on a very short leash also.
Yeah.
How it goes before, because you could be on the offense, you could be on the defense, but you never know when your time is gonna come when you gonna be Mike Bell.
Right.
So it's like
that's one thing we
never know.
He will bench you.
He will bench you, and he can ship something out in FedEx faster than you can say overnight service. So.
That's the truth.
Too funny.
Diva is in rare form. That is the truth.
But who else didn't contribute this last game was Edebali, man.
Overall, the defensive line and the linebackers, I'm just gonna combine. My grade for them is really overall, with the exception of Craig Robertson and Nate Stupar. They're at a the defense is getting there. Overall, the defense, that's why my grade is mixed, because the defense played 3 solid quarters against the Raiders. They played 4 solid quarters against the Giants, so that gives them 7. They didn't play any solid quarters against Atlanta. They played 2 solid quarters in the second half of that San Diego game. They only gave up 6 points. They only gave up 6 points to the Chiefs. They played horrible. They played good first half against Carolina. They only gave up 6 points to Seattle in the second half. So they've played 18 out of 28 quarters. They've played solid. So even though it doesn't show up statistically, they're making strides considering that they have had 10 key contributors, including starters, out on the defense. So I was going to give them a high D plus, but I moved that up to just a solid C because I can see where they've won 2. They've won 2. They should have had 3 games that they won for the Saints. Mm-hmm. The Saints offense won 3, and they've won 3 for the Saints. And so I give them a little slack in terms of, with all the injuries, that they have made some strides considering the competition they had to play up against with all of their secondary having gone through injuries. Jairus Byrd, the jury is still out on Mr. Byrd. He had a decent game against Seattle. We need more of that. Kenny Vaccaro has played really solid, outstanding in terms of he's been the best solid, most consistent defensive player this year on defense. I don't know what is going to happen with Ellaby. We need him, and once again, he's hurt. Kyle gave me that information before we went on the air. Once again, we're not going to be able to come to Ellaby. I don't know what's going on with Stephon Anthony and Laurinaitis. I know Robinson and Super have outplayed them. And so now I guess Marty or Laurinaitis probably will play since Ellaby is not playing. And I thought the linebackers were going to be our strength. And don't know what's going on with Stephon Anthony and Laurinaitis. Kyle or Sarita, anybody have any thoughts on Laurinaitis and Stephon Anthony and what's going on?
Well, Laurinaitis got laryngitis. We can't hear him. We can't hear him at all. It ain't coming through. It ain't coming through. And you're supposed to be the quarterback of the defense. Now I can say this: he's been banged up. He's going to be out for this game as well. He has a quad injury. Lasco has a hamstring injury, and Ellaby has a quad injury. So those 3 have been confirmed to be out for the game. Man, I just don't know what is going on. Maybe Laurinaitis is not fitting in well with Dennis Allen's scheme. It seemed as though he was going to be the leader. They claimed that Stephon Anthony was not. But I still believe, man, you cannot tell me that you bring in a rookie, you draft him in the first round, you thrust him into the starting lineup, and he led the team in tackles, if I'm not mistaken, last season. And then all of a sudden, he's not smart enough to be able to play the position. I just don't understand how you would say he's not picking up the system. Maybe something's not being communicated from the defensive coach downward. I just don't see how you can say this kid who you thought enough of to choose him at 27 and as a first round pick, and now he's not smart enough to play the position. I just don't understand. So, hopefully we'll see what's going to happen with Stephon Anthony and the rest of these linebackers. But the defense has been improving. I do know this because they limited Seattle to only 15 first downs. They only gave them less than 50% on third down conversions. That was excellent as well. If you look at the beginning game of the season, the Saints gave up 486 yards. Against Seattle, we only gave up 359 yards. The offensive plays that have gone down also. The high for the year, 75 plays against the Giants. The low for the year was 52 plays for Kansas City and 54 plays for Seattle. So the defense is doing their job. They're giving the offense other possessions to be able to take over and to be able to, win back some control over the game. So I can see an improvement in the defensive performance. Is it enough? We don't know. We still have a ways to go.
Well, my grade for the Pelicans. I mean, not for the Pelicans.
Well, Pelicans, we know that grade.
Yeah, that grade is is there F plus?
F minus.
Is there F plus or F minus? Like we're
going to E.
I think we're going to E. Anthony Davis is the only one that's showing up to the games, and everybody else is like, it's like New Edition. It's like New Edition and buying and then finding like replacement or watered down Johnny Gill or a watered down Bobby Brown. in the sense like somebody to replace those two, and they can't even compare to those. That's like what's going on. That's the only person that's covered there and collected a paycheck right now. From what I see, the score is 87. Whoever they're playing, because I stopped paying attention. Whoever they're playing has 87 and they have 85. So there's a chance. But my grade for the defense is they got a FD. An FD. Again, started out at an F plus. And
I knew I thought you was gonna give him a Z for zilch.
maybe this cold dead heart is cracking a little bit, but this last game they actually. I saw some sparks of some possibilities, and then just hearing that, like, Kenny Vaccaro is like, you know what, hey, y'all messing up, bro. So, yeah, we have today off, but you know what? Y'all need to come in. Everybody need to come in and work a little bit harder because, like he said, man, we've had to deal with mediocre for too long, and it took too long to get out of that hole of just being bad, subpar, mediocre, the equivalent to what the Texans are, to get to a point where you consider the straight contender and then to just go back down into that hole again. So I'm giving them an FD. Side note, Jarius Byrd, even though we won against Seattle, what did you have to overly celebrate?
The spotlight,
like had just won
because the spotlight wasn't on him. That's why he didn't make a bad play.
He didn't make a bad play, but you really didn't make any plays. But no, when it was time and it was actually that we won, you would have thought that he was Drew Brees out there. and bro, I didn't hear you get called in the stat line when. So if I had to fit everything from that point since we actually signed you on, truly, what do you have to celebrate? Like, what? That's your only celebration is that I'm not injured.
I got to give. Jarius did lead the team in not sacks but tackles for that game.
That particular game. Okay,
for that game
I give you. But you got, if that's the case, if he led in tackles, I'm sorry, I didn't look at the stat line. I'll give you that. But even in that sense, if we still had to add it up from that point, going back to since we signed you, you got a aggressive fifth point. But that whole jumping, leaping, and as fragile as you are, you jump up and come down, and then we still pay you all this money and you're injured. Seriously, bro, what did you have to celebrate like that?
Yeah, so
he was the first one, like, jumping up there like he was LeBron and they had just won the national championship. You just started contributing.
Yeah, he was.
Settle down.
I thought he was doing the bird. Remember, he was like flying through the air.
I don't know what he was doing, but I was like, simmer down now.
Simmer down.
One of the things with the secondary, they did an outstanding job against Jimmy Graham and Doug Baldwin. They did an outstanding job against the Chiefs wide receivers. They did a great job against Calvin Benjamin. They did an outstanding job against Julio Jones. They did an outstanding job against Odell Beckham. And they were pretty solid for most of the game till Delvin broke out against Crabtree and Amari Cooper. So there is what next year, if they can get P.J. Williams, Damian Swart, Kyle Wilson back healthy to go along with this tandem, you could be looking at a very solid secondary. The Saints have been riddled these 3 years in a row where their secondary was going to be their strength, and injuries have held it back. If they could ever get all of these guys to be able to play most of the season, you're going to have a really good job. So I think Coach Allen has definitely done a really improving job with this defense. So shout out to Coach Allen. All right, so that's the defense. We're going to wrap up real quickly with the special teams segment. And Will Lutz, I think, is 11 of 15, and the young man has shown he has a great leg.